lowering it with ease. To push his limits further, he picks up a 100 kilos hammer and strikes himself in the face. The impact does nothing. His body remains unharmed. He laughs in excitement as he realizes just how powerful this new form is. A voice from downstairs interrupts his thoughts, shouting for the noise to stop. He is satisfied with his shadow form and goes back to normal. Opening the system window, he notices something intriguing. He comes across an option that can be activated. He wonders what it means and taps to read more. The description explains that he has only acquired partial authority in his class and has not awakened it yet. After his activation, this will become a class-exclusive ability, and no one else will be able to awaken it. However, it also mentions that there might be risks involved with the activation. Jiang hesitates. The word risk appears in red, making him reconsider. But then, another message reminds him that risks often lead to opportunities. After a moment of contemplation, he selects yes. As soon as he confirms his choice, black matter emerges from the system window and moves toward him. His expression shifts from confidence to panic. Before he can react, the substance engulfs him, forming a cocoon around his body. A medicine bottle slips from his grasp and crashes to the floor. The lights flicker in his apartment as a single drop of medicine hits the ground. The system displays a new message, declaring his status as a hunter. A system notification appears saying that if he doesn't excel in hunting, he will perish in it. He is a born hunter and his attacks will do more damage. More system notes appear. The first states that weapons such as guns, bows, and poisons will not benefit from the extra damage. The second warns that secrecy is crucial. His reputation as a killer will determine his success. The third note is ominous. Even gods cannot escape. Hong examines his hands and thinks about what he just read. At the same time, another notification appears, explaining that activating shadow form significantly enhances his killing ability. He will require less blood to maintain his strength, and when an opponent's health drops low enough, he can execute an instant decapitation. When the threshold is reached, the health bar of the target will turn crimson and he will be able to see their fatal spot. By attacking this spot, he can initiate the execution and eliminate the target. The system further explains that his decapitation skill depends on factors such as blood level, strength, and the opponent's abilities. This makes him recall his previous battle. Was this the same skill that activated when he took down his last opponent? The thought lingers as he processes the new information. With absolute damage and execution skills combined, he almost feels invincible. With these abilities, victory is almost certain. He raises his hand triumphantly, but then, something feels off. He remembers that the system said something about risks. Jiang quickly unwraps the bandages on his body, expecting to see wounds. Instead, his skin is flawless. Confusion sets in. His injuries should still be there. Even the deepest cuts have vanished. Medicine does not work this fast. A realization forms in his mind. His enhanced recovery must be linked to his shadow form. The next day, Yao Yao's friend asks her if she saw Jiang's fight and questions if it was true. On the screen, his profile displays a selfie with a caption claiming he was struck 88 times during a fight. Yet the image clearly shows no injuries. She tells her that Jiang sent her a message saying that he encountered human traffickers. He was holding a watermelon knife and fought off from one end of the street to the other without even blinking. The other friend, still looking at the phone, wonders if Jiang was hurt and suggests checking on him. Yao Yao listens quietly before shaking her head. She then explains that there is no need for concern. Jiang was not in a fight. The only thing that happened to him yesterday was being chased by a dog. She thinks that he is just trying to brag to everyone. The three of them finally reach his home, and she asks them to go in and check for themselves. As she tries opening the door, her friends ask her how she got the keys. She panics for a second and quickly mentions that Uncle Lee gave it to her. She opens the door expecting to see him covered in the bandages, but she is shocked to find him sitting on the floor in pain. She immediately runs over to him and asks him why he removed his bandages. Hong explains that he removed it because he thought that the wound was healed. The friends realize that he wasn't just bragging and actually telling the truth. They are impressed by his muscles and start touching him, but Yao Yao pushes both of them outside and asks them to wait in the living room. With this, both of them are convinced that Jiang and Yao Yao are dating. Yao Yao starts applying some medicine to the wound, which makes Jiang twitch in pain. She asks him to stop whining since she is familiar with this medicine, and it doesn't hurt. However, my man doesn't care about anything she says and continues staring at her legs. She notices this and warns him that she will just let Xiao Pang apply the medicine for him. Jiang immediately rejects it and says that the guy is clumsy. She pinches his cheeks a bit too hard and says that Uncle Lee hasn't taken care of him for too long. She asks him what happened the previous day since she doesn't believe the robbery story he told her. He tells her that he is righteous and likes to stand up for justice. However, his girlfriend isn't ready to believe a single word. He wonders what he should tell her since killing a mutant in the shadow layer and chatting with a dying night patrol officer sounds even more insane. He mentions her dad and asks her if he went back yesterday. She tells him that he didn't go back and asks why he is asking. Jiang looks down with a worried expression and explains that he thinks being a night patrol officer is quite tough. They have to work during the day and even at night, which is dangerous. Yao Yao sits there in silence as she hears this. He looks at her and thinks to himself that she must be worried about her dad. Being a night patrol officer is not a peaceful job. Uncle Li lost an arm in the profession, and the guy he met in the shadow layer died at the age of 20. Even someone as strong as her dad has suffered serious injuries, which means that he can't make any further progress in this lifetime. Yao Yao looks at him and asks if he is going to join the night patrol after clearing the martial arts exam. He thinks for a moment and reveals that he isn't sure. He then jokingly asks her if there will be any beautiful girls on the night patrol, which makes her annoyed. Meanwhile, the two friends try to listen into their conversation from the outside. The two of them wonder what is going on inside. The two of them finally walk in. Zhang asks them how they got here, and they tell him that they wanted to know what was going on with him. They tell them not to worry and ask them to sit down. As they both sit down, Zhang starts yapping again and tells them a made-up story. His girlfriend thinks that he is just trying to show off again. She tells him that she is going to the supermarket and asks him if she should throw away his clothes since they are torn away. Without even looking at her, he tells her to throw them away and continues with his story. However, he suddenly realizes something and leaps towards Yao Yao. He frantically tells her to wait and mentions that he has something else in his clothes. In an anticlimactic manner, a bag of sanitary pads falls out of his shirt. Yao Yao looks at it with a confused expression and asks him why he brought it here. Jiang nervously scratches his head and tells her that he bought it from the supermarket yesterday since she told him that her stomach hurt. Meanwhile, one of the friends takes a picture of this moment to share with her entire class. Jiang hands over the bag to her and asks her if she needs anything else. She furiously throws the bag back at him and says that she doesn't need anything. He acts confused and asks her why she is getting angry all of a sudden. The two friends think of this as a usual couple fight and decide to leave. After everyone leaves, Zhang is free to test out his skills. He commands his shadow to merge with him and prepares to start a fun exercise. Zhang gets enveloped by a dark substance, and he travels to the shadow realm using his shadow. Despite the place being filled with pollution, he feels remarkably comfortable. It is the same feeling as a person who has been living in a polluted industrial environment for a long time, and they get to visit some vast plains. He is currently at 60% health, but all of his pain is gone and his health is also regenerating. A bright current starts surging from his body as he prepares for his exercise. He feels like his body has unlimited strength. In no time, he begins doing hundreds of push-ups. The system notifies him that his dark form has entered the shadow layer. He starts gaining shadow points for these exercises, and it increases his strength further. With each of these push-ups, his body grows a bit stronger. He stops at 1,000 push-ups and decides to go outside. The outside world seems eerily empty. He thinks to himself that he would have a lot of disciples if he were this strong in the real world. He then starts doing bar exercises using only one arm. Meanwhile, in the Night Patrol headquarters, an important meeting is about to commence. Executive Liu sits there while a guy presents him with a report on darkness fluctuations. He informs him that the range of fluctuations in the darkness is wide and the oscillations are abnormal. Pollution levels have also risen, and it is spread across a larger area. Some of their squads identified similar cracks in other regions as well. A girl continues with the report and states that the distribution of these fluctuations is more concentrated in residential areas this time. This is a bit strange since these fluctuations were randomly distributed previously. The report says that unusual activities have become more frequent in the past few days. 4 abnormal incidents have occurred where people have been dragged into the shadow layer to the dark side. These incidents are rare, but nobody knows if they will increase in the future or not. Abyssal fissures are more dangerous as compared to the disturbances caused by the shadow layer. If one compares the creatures of the shadow layer to the ferocious wild beasts, the abyssal fissures will win as Godzilla can also come out of it. Suddenly, Uncle Lee, who has been sitting there all along, joins in the meeting and comments that these all are just suspicions, so there is nothing to worry about. He also mentions that they have been preparing for combat for so long. Everyone, including Executive Liu, gives him a glare, so he tells them to carry on with the report. The report carries on and also discusses the list of night guards who have lost their lives recently. Once the meeting ends, Liu stands in front of a large glass window. He takes out his cigarettes and wonders why these unusual activities always happen around the new year. He takes the cigarette and looks for a lighter. While looking for flame, he realizes that his daughter has swapped his cigarettes with cookies again. Meanwhile, someone throws a pack of cigarettes towards him that he blocks with his hand. It's Lee who tells Liu that he should not always have a stern face. He also offers him a cigarette, but Liu refuses, saying he does not want lung cancer. Lee mocks him, saying that he is afraid, but the executive tells speak up if he has stayed late just because he wanted to ask something. Lee informs him that another notice has been issued from above. Liu inquires about the nature of the notice with a tense face. After hearing about the notification, Liu seems really tense. He asks Lee if it has been confirmed. Lee tells him that he should have received it on his computer too. He turns on his computer. Lee asks him if he has already decided which direction his daughter would go. He asks if she will specialize in extraordinary supernatural sciences or humanities. Liu replies that he has not decided yet. He plans on waiting till the abilities test. The emergency notification says that candidates with second grade or higher in the exceptional supernatural abilities category, except for exceptional circumstances, must take the abilities test and select specialized exceptional abilities. The executive asks Lee about Jiang's future plans. He adds that he does not think Jiang is an honest person. He wonders what he will choose among different categories of supernatural studies. Lai replies that he will not take any of them. The executive is surprised and asks if he plans on making him specialize in studying extraordinary human sciences. Lai tells him that he wants him to take regular human sciences. Lu thinks he is joking, as he has not even tested his abilities yet. Once he passes the test, he will be forced to major in the exceptional human sciences. Lee stands up and reveals that he does not want him to take the test in the first place. He then goes out for a stroll, leaving Lu behind with his official matter. Meanwhile, a girl with pink hair enters with a pile of files. She enters and apologizes for the disturbance. Lu does not bother and asks her what brought her to his office. She shows him a notification that has been sent from the shadow layer. The notification is about a new type of strange creature. The creature is a respectful shadow that exercises intensively. It is black in color and resembles a shadow. The report says that it was first seen in the garden of the Xingyu Residential Center. It is presumed that the shadow has accidentally invaded that area. It has a keen interest in exercise and uses tools for training. It also has a low aggressive tendency. The report mentions that the creature offers its greeting when it is approached by the explorers. The risk assessment for the shadow is low, and its kill record is none currently. The secretary with pink hair informs the executive that the monitoring team has found this peculiar type of being near the residential area. There are no records about it in the database, so she wants to ask for the executive's opinion. Lu has not seen such a creature before. The scene changes to the shadow layer where Jiang is filming a spider. He tells everyone that the spider has more protein when compared with the same amount of rice. He goes on to say that the spider meat is tender and delicious. Anyone can easily grill its surface using heat. After taking one bite, one will feel that it does not taste like beef or lamb, but it tastes like spider meat. He then posts the video. He regrets that he did not know people were interested in snapshots from the shadow layer's scenery. Now he knows it and thinks it won't be long until he becomes famous on the internet. After posting his video, he comes to know that a lot of people are already creating content about exceptional abilities. It feels strange to him as he was not allowed to post such content online. Just then he receives a notification that he has to go hunting, otherwise he will die. John gets frightened and bashes the notification. Meanwhile, he comes to know that his remaining lifespan is only 100 hours. He gets anxious as his life has only 100 hours left. Jiang does not even know why the system is even giving him this notification. He remembers that opening the class abilities carries certain risks. This can be a risk of opening the assassin. He soon composes himself and looks for a way out of this difficult situation. The description in the notification tells him that as a hunter, he has to continue hunting if he wants to extend his life. He realizes that he can stay mortal if he keeps on hunting. He also reads that even if his body disappears, another form of existence will remain. He does not understand the actual meaning behind this line. He also does not understand why the notification says that he will be happy when he wakes up in this place. He plans on asking Uncle Lee for help if he fails in successfully killing a strange creature. He looks at the spider and knows that he has to kill it first if he wants to buy some time. He also decides to capture all this as it will make him famous. He places his phone at an angle where it can film everything. He does not have a fear of getting caught as his account is a secret one that he has received from the Night Patrol Bureau. He merges with his shadow and starts streaming. He has several monkey coins and he plans on confirming their reliability. He greets all his followers and introduces himself while live streaming. He tells them that he has encountered a strange creature. His followers start commenting as they are excited to see him with the spider. He cautions them to not make any noise and starts approaching the spider slowly. He remains silent as the spider is sleeping. He takes out his iron stick that he has bought after paying a hefty amount. Soon the spider wakes up, but it does not notice Jiang due to his shadow form. His next step is to use the execution skill and find its weak point. He finally sees its weak spot and decides to finish it. The scene shifts to half an hour ago where the spider is alive and has just arrived in this world. It really loves the environment of the world. There is no pressure like the abyss, and there are no other dangerous creatures. The spider considers itself a weak creature and wants to be cautious. He recalls his fight with a strange fellow of the same species a while ago. The spider got injured in the fight, but it got a good meal. It plans on sleeping for a bit to regain its strength. While sleeping, it gets disturbed by a boy and gets to know that he is going to attack it. But the strange thing is that it cannot see the boy. It changes its sleeping spot considering this place as unsafe. Meanwhile, Jiang hits it with the iron rod and feels the shadow points seeping out of his body. He gets to know that he should be struck at certain points to extract his full power. The spider has only 40% HP left as a lot of its blood has been shed. Jiang plans on going for another hit, but before that, he gets hit by the spider. But to his amazement, he does not feel hurt. The spider is losing a lot of blood, and Jinog realizes that it's because of his direct hit to the weak point. He then uses his shadow attack skill and is in awe of how it sneaks into the darkness like a thief. He realizes that there is no need to face the spider directly. He can just wait for the right moment and strike. He prepares for his final blow and the hunter-prey pursuit. The scene changes to a girl holding a phone and watching a broadcast with a man announcing that the night patrol is protecting the city's people. He greets the viewers and explains that he is on duty today. His topic is the construction of low-ranking others. The girl scrolls through her feed and moves to the next live broadcast. In the next broadcast, a girl with green hair appears. She greets everyone and shares that she is visiting a small restaurant in an alley. The girl kicks her legs in the air. She scrolls to the next broadcast. A man admits that he has been busy lately. Another girl says she is helping her family. On a bed, there is a jacket, underwear, and a magazine. Another blogger mentions that her lighter is like family to her. If she can't pick it up, she is doomed. The white-haired girl who is watching the live stream starts getting bored. She complains that nothing interesting has happened recently, but suddenly she finds something exciting. She watches Jiang's broadcast, where he introduces himself as Yu from the northern capital. On the screen, strange creatures fly across the sky, and a monster leaps from one rooftop to another. She immediately sits up in surprise. She gets excited and can't help but wonder if those monsters are real or just special effects. Our boy, who is streaming by the allies Yu, points to the side and introduces the creature behind him, a shadow spider, an ancient ghost of the first rank, the weakest kind of other. Comments flood the screen. Some admire Yu's looks, calling him handsome and cool. Others complain about their own problems. One girl wishes she had more money to buy him gifts. Ignoring the comments, Yu explains that the shackles on the spider produce terrifying sounds that ordinary people should never hear. The white-haired girl frowns at the comments and gets annoyed. She calls the commenters idiots, criticizing their rude behavior online. If only their parents could see what they were posting. Then she suddenly pauses and quickly starts typing her own message. Yu transforms into a shadow and vanishes into the darkness. The girl is shocked. She wonders if he is actually some kind of exceptional being. This makes her smile as she realizes that things are becoming more interesting. Yu reappears behind the spider and throws a metal rod at it. The monster roars in pain and rises on its hind legs. A bright red beam shoots from the ground, piercing the spider. It stumbles to the side, surprised by the mysterious attack. Yu then lightly touches the monster, and when it turns angrily, he grins and says, "I'm here." The spider lunges at him, but he dodges every attack. He mocks the spider and says that it can't even hit him despite having 8 legs. The white-haired girl, watching from under a blanket, excitedly comments on how fast and handsome Yu is. The spider suddenly releases a large purple beam, covering the ground with acid. It laughs, thinking Yu is trapped. But then Yu's voice comes from above. He asks if the spider really believes he is helpless just because the ground is covered in acid. The monster looks up and spots him on a rooftop. Yu simply says that no place is devoid of shadow, and then jumps down. The spider tries to overpower him with acid, but Yu moves through it effortlessly, even phasing through buildings. He declares himself a hunter of the shadows. Picking up his metal rod, he says that endless killings have clouded his memory, and he only remembers his own name. Suddenly, he drives the stick into the spider's head. The creature groans in pain. He continues destroying the spider and announces that his name is Yu. He places his palm on the dead spider and uses the shadow-swallowing skill to absorb its darkness. Black energy absorbs the spider's body and transfers it to Yu. White ribbons wrap around him, forming a flowing white cloak. He knows the hunt is over. People watching the broadcast are stunned. They feel like they are watching a superhero movie, with some even falling in love with him. The girl excitedly presses her phone to her chest. She hasn't seen anything this thrilling in a long time. She quickly visits his profile. His name is listed as the Killer Yu. He has 722,000 likes and 89,000 followers. She decides she must catch his attention. She presses the follow button and thinks that maybe she can contact him. Then she sends him a message asking if she can add a star to the assassination mission with a high reward. Meanwhile, the system reveals details about the shadow spider. It was a first-level, middle-rank creature, part of an ancient demon species. Its body markings indicate its power. The more complex they are, the higher the pollution it spreads. Staring at it for too long is dangerous. The spider's abilities include an acid net and ancient demon corruption. Killing the spider causes sensory disruption. Thanks to Shadow Bite, Yu gains 2 things. First, the ability to create a shadow net and the shadow points from the creature. However, he feels disappointed. This monster was only first level middle rank. He thought it was stronger. In reality, there was a huge power gap, and he only won by using the shadow attack. Yu checks his phone and sees 1.5 million viewers. He grins. So many people are watching him now. Chuckling, he ends the broadcast, saying that's enough for today. He wants to leave them curious. Suddenly, a black thread wraps around his arm. Confused, he realizes it's the shadow net ability. Testing it, he shoots the net at a building and is lifted into the air. At first he panics, but then he starts laughing. Bro literally turned into Spider-Man, but his excitement is short-lived. He crashes into a wall and falls, landing on a street lamp. Groaning, he realizes that he needs to practice this more. An information window appears in front of him. It states that his lifespan has increased by only 3 days, bringing his total to 7. He frowns. This is less than he expected. Even though he has 7 days left, finding other creatures isn't easy, and he needs more backup. Suddenly, another system message appears. It is reminder number 3, which states that a hunter must hide in the shadows. The more he hides, the higher his reputation. The system informs him that he will unlock new hunter powers due to the increase in his reputation. Now he can mark his target, making it easier to find weak points. The system explains that he can mark enemies based on their fear and other negative emotions. However, the duration of a mark is only 1 second. As his reputation grows, this time will increase. Each mark costs energy and exposes his location, so he must use it carefully. Additionally, when hunting a marked target, he gains extra agility and strength. If he successfully hunts them, one of his attributes or abilities will improve. Unlike marking, hunting doesn't drain energy, but since the hunting time is tied to the mark's duration, he must kill his target quickly during the hunting time to enhance his negative reputation or status. After reading the message, he rubs the back of his head, trying to make sense of it. He wonders if the authority is now unblocked and when the person became famous. Looking at the number of viewers, he speculates that the sudden attention might be due to a live broadcast. If that is the case, he decides to hunt others, gain more subscribers, and discover new abilities. With this approach, he believes both his strength and skills will improve. Determined to push himself further, he resolves to try harder today. Suddenly, he notices a red mark and starts wondering what it could be. As he looks around, he spots a massive purple monster with spikes along its back standing behind one of the buildings. Overcome with excitement, he lets out a joyful exclamation, realizing that he has found it. Without hesitation, he jumps off the lantern and lands on the ground, beginning the hunt. His grin widens, taking on a slightly unhinged expression. The scene changes to an apartment building where our boy receives a strong hit to the face. The force of the blow makes him jump up, grab his cheek, and cry out in pain. The attack comes from Yao Yao, who stands over him, demanding an explanation about what is going on and whom he has been fighting this time. Without waiting for his response, she takes out a disinfectant and applies cotton wool to his wound. He tries to calm her down, insisting that he is going to become a hero and that she wouldn't understand. Hearing this, she asks him if he knows any hero who is covered in injuries every single day. She tells him that he is just trying to show off without having any real skills. Without giving him a chance to argue, she stuffs cotton into his nose, warning that he shouldn't get involved in such things unless he has the right skills. He clenches his teeth in frustration but then turns away, confidently stating that he can heal his wounds in seconds using his shadow form. He clarified that he hadn't activated it just so she would have the chance to help him. Her expression shifts to curiosity as she asks him what he means by that. Trying to change the subject, he grabs a water bottle and suggests they watch a movie instead. She casually replies that there isn't much interesting to watch. As she picks up her phone and scrolls through some movie titles, she mentions that a certain YouTuber has recently gained a lot of attention. Her face turns red with embarrassment as she brings up the topic. Noticing her reaction, he asks her about the YouTuber. Without answering directly, she holds up her phone and urges him to look at the screen. To his shock, he sees his own shadow introducing itself as you, a memory loss assassin from the shadows. The sight leaves him speechless, causing him to choke on his water and start coughing. Concerned, she asks if he is okay, wondering if he is really that surprised. Trying to compose himself, he hastily reassures her that nothing is wrong before hesitantly asking if she has been watching it. She enthusiastically confirms, saying she has been following it for 2 days already. The blogger has quickly become the most popular and unusual figure online. Feeling uneasy, he scratches the back of his head and asks if that is really true. While the idea sounds exciting, he wonders whether publicly posting such content could lead to legal trouble. Realizing how fast he has gained attention, he begins worrying about the night patrol catching him. Noticing his nervousness, she advises him to keep quiet about what he knows. She assures him that his current situation doesn't have much impact on public perception, so everything should be fine. Instead, she suggests that he watch a real fight with some mutants. She grabs his hand and moves closer, excitedly asking if he thinks the blogger is cool. She insists that he should take inspiration from him. Feeling embarrassed, he remains silent, staring at the phone screen. She continues insisting that he watch another video, explaining that another blogger has already started analyzing his recordings. Seeing her excitement, he smiles slightly. Then, out of nowhere, she turns to him and asks if he thinks she could become famous too. He avoids her gaze and jokingly asks her if she wants to record herself wearing a JKT outside and dance in the shadow layer. She tells him to get lost and says that she can just record videos explaining the supernatural. Hearing this, he asks her if she really thinks she can compete with the experienced Night Patrol seniors just by reading some information. He adds that if she steps outside in such an outfit, she will easily get tracked by stalkers. At this, she frowns and shoots him a menacing look. He points at her and says that he lost one last time. She gets confused and asks him what he means. Before he can respond, she suddenly appears behind him, pressing a gun against his back. Sternly, she asks if he has been injured while stalking someone. Startled, he raises his hands in surrender and desperately insists that he is only joking. Unconvinced, she pushes him with the muzzle of the gun and angrily demands how she is supposed to know if he is telling the truth. He tries to defuse the situation, addressing her as an officer and pleading for a break. However, she firmly refuses, ordering him to get up and prepare food. Exhausted, he collapses onto the sofa and opens his personal messages. Finally, she is gone. Just as he relaxes, something catches his attention. He notices a flood of new messages from people asking who he is and why his videos are being posted. Some question if he is connected to the night patrol or if everything is staged. Others want to know if there are more pictures or if the footage is edited. Amidst all these messages, he notices some people mentioning him and saying that a guy named Real Deal has just exposed him. This makes him curious, and he goes over to his channel. He clicks on the link and suddenly sees an old man broadcasting on his channel. He greets everyone and says that they are not exploring shops today, but are instead dealing with a scammer. The guy asks his audience if they have seen the video and if it looks real to them. He tells them that they will watch the video first and then analyze it frame by frame on a computer. It is the same video of Zhang fighting the spider. The old guy pauses the video at a specific frame and asks the audience if they can notice the discontinuity between both frames. This means that the video is edited. He then points to the background and mentions that it has also been edited to cover the unrealistic parts. Zhang is confused since this guy is supposed to be a food blogger who goes to different restaurants and gives his reviews. He wonders why he is trying to leech on his popularity. He only cut off a few embarrassing scenes from the video, and he is getting criticized for it. The guy then explains why he has decided to review the video. He turns the phone around and shows them the authentic tag on his profile. He claims that he is a member of the Night Patrol and has once killed countless monsters. Because of this, they can spot a fake instantly. However, they soon move on to another discussion. Zhang presses the comment button on his phone and sees users flooding the chat with messages. Some doubt that the footage is fake, questioning how something like the shadow layer could be fabricated. Others wonder why the video needs editing if it is real. Was the entire story false from the beginning? Some refuse to call the video fake outright, while others point out issues with certain objects. One commenter expresses that they trust the Night Patrol more. Zhang smirks, thinking that they are all fools who fail to understand anything. However, he believes that one day they will learn the truth. Standing up from the sofa, he stretches and remarks that if the video is indeed fake, then it is time to start hunting others. But before that, he needs to teach the old blogger a lesson. He decides to move back into the shadow layer and thinks of all the titles he can add to his new video. After getting transported to the shadow realm, he takes out a mini camera and attaches it to his jacket. He notes that the number of creatures seems lower than the previous day. The shadow layer, it seems, resets itself from time to time. Suddenly, something catches his attention, and he asks himself what is happening. He senses a level 6 creature who wants to ambush other mutants. Gripping the club in his hands, he grins and prepares to see what someone of the 6th rank is capable of. The hunt has begun. Taking a step to the side, he stands at the edge of a rooftop but suddenly stops. Letting out a small sigh, he trembles slightly before deciding to descend the stairs, reminding himself to stay calm and avoid any sudden movements. A powerful killer like him is not meant to rush. He is a special kind of hunter. As he climbs down the stairs, the creature he spotted earlier emerges from the walls, letting out a loud roar. He pauses and puts a mark on the target, causing a magic circle to appear in front of the creature. The monster immediately becomes wary. Observing this, he feels that everything is going according to plan. The marked target is supposed to experience a deep, inexplicable fear. He notices that the monster bears a striking resemblance to another creature he has encountered before, one with deadly blades. He wonders if it has evolved. He then says that it doesn't matter since the same kind of transformation has happened to him as well. Without hesitation, he uses the 6th staff technique, wielding his blade before striking the monster directly in the stomach. The creature's blood level drops to 45%, which immediately puts him on alert. Taking a step back, he leaps high into the air and initiates the hunt. The system promptly reports that the mark and hunt ability has been activated, temporarily increasing his strength and agility. Its duration is 1 second, and if he kills the target within this period, he will gain additional rewards. He swings his weapon at the monster once again, but it dodges the attack and he ends up hitting the building behind it. A bright light illuminates the surroundings. He looks back in surprise to see the monster completely unharmed. Shocked, he pushes off the building's wall and continues his pursuit. Finally, he lands directly in front of the creature, which lets out an eerie screech and flails its appendages in different directions in an attempt to intimidate him. He hesitates for a moment before the monster suddenly opens its mouth and lets out a weird sound. Zhang's head starts to feel dizzy, and he wonders if the mutant is launching mental attacks on him. The monster suddenly slashes him and he fails to block the attack. He clears his throat, lands nearby and looks down at his hands, realizing that the monster is quite powerful. He notes that his blood level has dropped to less than 66%, as he has already lost 34% in a single attack. As the monster charges at him again, he He quickly understands that its attacks are incredibly strong and that he needs to come up with a strategy. The mutant tries to hit him, but he starts dodging all of its attacks and even taunts it. The battle between them intensifies, filling the area with loud, echoing sounds. The monster continues advancing, and suddenly it stops right in front of him. It extends strange appendages from its mouth, but Zhang is nowhere to be seen. As the monster searches for him in confusion, our boy takes advantage of this moment. He rushes forward and calls it a fool for falling for his trick. He thinks to himself that despite the creature's evolution, its skills have not changed. This is still his territory, and today, the monster will not gain the upper hand. With that thought, he launches a series of attacks, striking the creature multiple times. The monster roars in pain, but he remains unfazed. He gives it no chance to attack and continues his offense. Slowly, his punches start cracking the mutant's face. He jumps up in the air, and before he can deal the finishing blow, he stops. He looks at the mutant's face again in shock as he notices the night patrolman looking back at him. He can't believe his eyes as the guy in front of him was taken away by the night patrolman. Zhang wonders why he has turned into this form. The monster lets out a deafening growl, breaking him from his daze. Feeling uneasy, he quickly steps back. Without hesitation, the creature turns and flees in the opposite direction. Zhang instinctively yells for it to stop and immediately gives chase, insisting that he only wants to talk. After running for some time, he eventually slows down, gasping for breath. His mind races as he tries to understand what just happened. The system's voice echoes in his head, informing him that he has successfully located his prey. Still standing, he reads another system notification stating that his hunt was nearly successful, but that his prey disappeared at the last moment, resulting in a failed attempt. The system warns him that repeated failures will weaken him and shorten his lifespan. Deep inside, he knows that only through constant hunting will he grow stronger. This is the only way he will gain authority and power over death itself. Yet, in that moment, he finds himself questioning the meaning of life. He wonders whether it is all about hunting or if there is something more. He remains silent as the system repeats its message, warning him about the inevitability of death and how he must always be prepared for it. The constant reminders begin to frustrate him. He punches the system interface in anger, demanding that it stop. His irritation grows as the system repeats itself again and again. Eventually, he loses his temper and shouts for it to stop tormenting him. His mind lingers on the idea of heroes, those who sacrifice themselves to save others. He questions whether all of them eventually end up like this. Lowering his hand from his face, he catches sight of his reflection, and suddenly wonders if dying would turn him into a monster as well. At that moment, magical energy surrounds his entire body, illuminating him with an otherworldly glow. Clenching his fist, he makes a firm decision. There is no turning back. He must continue hunting. He has now reached the Cloud Sea gathering place in the East Zone 1. Glancing at his phone, he shifts his gaze toward the sky. He recalls news reports stating that anomalies frequently gather in this area, so there is no need for him to worry. As he speaks, shadowy blue sparks and dark energy swirl around him. A black hole forms above a nearby building, and he steps through it, instantly appearing on the rooftop. Looking around, he quickly realizes that the number of anomalies here is far greater than he expected. However, he notices that they are not bold enough to step outside the buildings. A sudden noise catches his attention. He turns toward the source of the sound and spots a creature glowing with a bright purple hue on the rooftop opposite him. Observing it carefully, he determines that it is an incredibly strong monster. However, he also notices that its leg is badly wounded, causing its health to drop significantly. Taking this as a sign of opportunity, he tells himself that he will not back down. Stepping out of the shadows, he moves closer to the monster. The creature notices him immediately and retaliates by launching a series of magical energy orbs in his direction. Before they can make contact, he swiftly vanishes and reappears within a thick cloud of dust. He quickly realizes that the monsters here are far more alert than those he has encountered in his own territory. This monster in particular seems especially sensitive. As he observes closely, he notices the red spots on its body slowly fading. He considers whether this is due to its heightened awareness, but then he dismisses the thought. Instead, he tells himself that he needs to find a way to keep the creature distracted. As the monster shifts its position, he senses an opening. Deciding that it is the right time to act, he focuses his gaze and activates his ability, marking the monster as his target. A glowing magic circle appears around his eye as he watches the creature with growing intensity. Meanwhile, back at her home, Yao Yao prepares food while keeping her back turned to the doorway. As the door opens, she thinks that it's Jiang, so without even looking back, she tells him that he is late and asks him where he was. When she looks back, she is surprised to see her dad and Uncle Li in the house. Yao Yao is startled to see her uncle and father standing behind her. Her uncle gives her a sharp look and asks if she is cooking for Jiang again. Her father responds, saying that it seems like he has been raising his daughter for someone else's family. Yao Yao grins and dismisses his words as nonsense. She asks why they are back so early. He explains that work at the office is finished, so they decide to leave. Since they rarely get to eat together, they are thinking of going to a restaurant for a nice meal. Yao Yao tells them that there's no need for that because she's almost done cooking. Her father scratches his head in confusion, and her uncle suggests that they go to a restaurant another day and sit together for this meal instead. Then he turns to her and asks about Jiang. She replies that she doesn't know and says that he may have gone out to play. Just as her uncle is complaining about how outrageous it is for him to have fun while leaving Yao Yao behind, my man suddenly bursts through the door. He shouts that he's starving and can't wait to eat. Quickly taking off his sneakers, he asks from the entrance what Yao Yao has cooked today, commenting that the smell is incredible. In a cheerful mood, he announces that he bought her favorite candy, but he was bitten by a big dog while buying it. Uncle Lee grabs his head in frustration, and the room falls silent as everyone stares at Jiang. He freezes when he realizes that the whole family is home. He puts the lollipop back into his pocket and makes an excuse, saying that he got chased by a dog on his way here, so he is a bit disoriented. Uncle Lee raises a hand and says that since it's rare for them all to have time together, there's no need to ruin the mood. He invites everyone to sit at the table. As Jiang sits down with him, he pats him on the shoulder and reminds him that it's okay to fight since he is still young. As Uncle Lou pours a drink into a glass, he casually remarks that he sees nothing wrong with a young man showing off in front of the girl he likes. Then, he brings up something he saw earlier and says that he saw him walking with a girl. As he asks him for her name, Yao Yao quickly replies that she is Yu Zhou'er. Their father nods, agreeing that she is quite good-looking, bright, clean, and with a nice figure. He says that if he was younger, he would have done anything to date a girl like her. After that, he raises his glass, suggesting a toast. Jiang, feeling uneasy, wonders how his uncle can say such things in front of Yao Yao. She turns red but agrees to the toast. His dad notices him sitting still, so he tells him to raise the glass. Jiang looks at Uncle Lou with a smile, and without hesitation, he drinks everything in one gulp. Uncle Lou grins as he decides to let him show off a bit. Jiang urges him to start eating since he's out all day and probably doesn't get the chance to eat home-cooked meals often. Uncle Lou chuckles, agreeing that this is a rare opportunity. He then comments that since Yao Yao often cooks at home, it's no surprise that her skills are top-notch. However, Uncle Lou suddenly looks at her with surprise. He doesn't believe it one bit since he always has to order takeout when he is at home. It seems like she puts a lot of effort into taking care of Jiang Yu, preparing a variety of dishes for him. Jiang looks at his uncle with a smirk on his face as he realizes that he has won this round. As they continue eating, they raise a few more toasts to each other. After some time, Yao Yao and her father prepare to leave. Near the door, Jiang wishes them a safe trip. His uncle exchanges farewells with Uncle Lou, who grins at Yao Yao as she waves goodbye. As the door closes behind them, Jiang picks up a bottle and asks him if he's thirsty. He replies no and sits down on the sofa. Jiang approaches him while drinking water, letting it drip from his face. Li sits silently, staring into the distance, before suddenly revealing that he has a question for him. Our boy is caught off guard and asks what it is. His uncle looks at him seriously and asks if he has awakened his abilities. This sudden question shocks him, and he stares at him with his eyes wide open. Bro tries to play it off and asks him what he means by awakening abilities. Uncle Lee tells him that he has been serving in the night patrol for 20 years, and he can recognize the injuries on his body in a single glance. He asks him what actually happened. Jiang sits back down and tells him that it happened half a month ago. His uncle then asks him how he awakened the powers. Jiang turns to Li with a smile and asks if he is being interrogated. Li, holding a cigarette in his hand, reassures Jiang not to worry and just talk. Jiang appears thoughtful and admits that he doesn't fully understand the situation since they have suddenly woken up. Li then questions whether the event has occurred on its own. He mentions that such incidents are extremely rare, happening only about once a year. Jiang stretches out his hand and says that it might all be thanks to his talent. However, Li frowns and gives him a menacing look, making Jiang feel uneasy. Lai mentions that there will be a test this year, and everyone is required to pass the martial arts exam. Jiang acknowledges this and assures him that both he and Yao Yao are already aware of it. Li seems surprised and asks if Yao Yao knows about it as well. He then speaks about how, in recent years, the night patrol unit has been under immense pressure, with the number of casualties continuously rising. He offers Jiang a backdoor by telling him not to participate in the martial examination and to take the college entrance exam instead. Hearing this, Jiang asks him what he means by backdoor. He doesn't understand how his uncle can casually say something like this. Lai explains that Jiang will have the choice to enroll in one of several universities. He suggests that if he likes comics, he can join the art department or another suitable field without any problem. Jiang has never realized that his uncle is so influential. Stepping closer, he hesitantly asks if, instead of enrolling, he can simply take the certificate. Li suddenly slaps Jiang and shouts in disbelief. He declares that Jiang will attend the Winter Academy since the environment there is ideal. He assures Jiang that once he completes his studies, he will arrange a stable job for him, allowing him to live a happy life with Yao Yao. Jiang holds his head in frustration, questioning why things have to be this way. He tells him that he still wants to try to become an extraordinary, This only makes Li angrier as he shouts that Jiang has to obey him. Li calms down for a moment and stands in front of him in silence. Jiang still refuses to listen and tells him that if he tries to offer him a back door, he will report him to the Night Patrol Bureau. Li makes a confused expression as he tries to comprehend what he just said. They stare at each other in tense silence before Li finally sighs and tells Jiang that he is not joking. He warns him that the world of special individuals is far more dangerous than he can imagine, and he should focus on his studies while letting him handle everything. Jiang, however, remains firm, insisting that he is also